Hello, beautiful people. Welcome to my channel, and to all my viewers all over the world, thank you for showing support to this amazing lady right here.
You know, it's interesting. The saga of Diddy and Tupac is an example of how energy cannot be created or destroyed, and how no matter how hard you try to manipulate, you cannot create or destroy or change the fundamental laws of the universe. What do I mean by this? Tupac was a shining example of everything that Diddy wanted to be, and he was that naturally. He was charismatic, he was sought after, desired, he was very well liked and a naturally likable person. He was charming, he actually had intrinsic talent, he was a star. He was what Diddy tried to force his way into becoming. Diddy, through force, through manipulation, through fear-mongering, tried to become loved and adored and liked, but all he could manage is like a twisted clone of that he was able to garner through fear. But back to my original point, he thought he triumphed over Tupac by killing him, when actually what he did was make Tupac immortal. And by Diddy continuing to live and earn more wealth and, in his mind, earn more adoration, he thought he triumphed. He thought he won overall. He thought he was able to manipulate the laws and the fabric of the universe just based on his pure, intense desire. But look at the ultimate outcome. Tupac is still more loved, more respected, probably even more so than he would have been had he continued living. And Diddy's reputation, legacy is destroyed. In some ways, Diddy is more dead than Tupac will ever be. And that's the lesson there. The energy cannot be created nor destroyed. No matter how hard you manipulate, you can't change the fundamental laws of the universe.
I finished watching Diddy's documentary, The Reckoning, yesterday, but there's some things that I still can't get off of my mind. As a millennial, some of the things that were covered were not that shocking to me because I've heard the rumors before. There's always been theories that Diddy was behind Tupac's death, that he was behind Biggie's death. We heard about the freak-offs. So on the surface, a lot of it wasn't a shock to me, but the details in evidence, especially from the people that were in close proximity to Diddy, had me thinking, wow, we had no idea. And there are some details that have shocked me to my core. There's quite a few for me to choose from, but one of the ones that I can't get out of my mind is when the sex worker was talking about the 9th of March. He said he couldn't understand why on the 9th of March every single year, like clockwork, Diddy would fly him out to have sex with him and Cassie. Do you know what the 9th of March marks? The anniversary of Biggie's death. So you mean to tell me, on top of allegedly being the cause of Biggie's death, on top of making it look like you were going to fund and plan his funeral, but really you were charging it to Biggie, switching out the terms of his contract to favour Bad Boy Entertainment, then taking his magazine cover opportunities because you wanted to be him so bad wasn't enough. That wasn't enough for Diddy. On top of all of that, he was doing annual freak-offs on the same day as the anniversary of his so-called best friend's death. Do you know how twisted you have to be? This man was going for women of the men that he was obsessed with. His baby mums and ex-girlfriends all had history with men that he wanted to be, that he wanted to emulate. Another part that shocked me was when Keith D admitted that after shooting Tupac, when the ambulance and police arrived, they were standing right there laughing. At the scene of the crime, they were standing there smoking and drinking and laughing, and the police and the ambulance were none the wiser that it was them. That it was them that had shot Tupac. How sinister. And then Diddy phoned them and was like, yo, was that us? Yo, was that us? Because he ordered the hit. I've always felt that Diddy had a dark nature, but after seeing this documentary, his darkness has no bounds. It has no bounds. The man is not okay.
Bro, let me just see this now. 50 Cent is not a man you want as an enemy. I'm sorry, but I don't want an enemy like 50 Cent. This guy holds grudges like PhD thesis. And what he just did with that PDD documentary on Netflix, wallahi, that one is war. So yesterday I finally sat down to watch, the whole thing properly. And let me tell you this. I was not ready for the kind of things this documentary revealed. But before I even get into details, let me ask you something. Have you ever seen someone fall from grace so hard that even people who used to fear him suddenly find their voices? That's exactly what this documentary is exposing. So 50 Cent didn't play. He didn't, beat around the bush. He brought footage, interviews, stories, and testimonies from people who were in Diddy's cycle when nobody dared to talk. And the way they were talking in this documentary, bro, it felt like everybody was finally breathing out after holding their breath for over 20 years. One of the parts that shocked me was when they showed, Diddy pacing around, looking stressed and saying, "We are losing. This is the dirtiest of the dirty business." And when a man that powerful starts panicking like that, it's not a small thing at all. And then you start hearing from former employees, old artists, people who worked in the shadows, talking about manipulations, control, the fear culture, the type of pressure that fame and power hides from the public eyes. One lady said she was fired simply because she refused Diddy's advances. Another talked about being silenced because he was too powerful to expose. Diddy, of course. Even old controversies, the kind we all thought died with the 90s, were brought back up. It was like opening a time capsule of secrets people prayed would never come out. But here's the part that really stayed with me. When you look at Diddy's rise, you realize something deep. This is what happened when someone becomes too big to be questioned, too rich to be corrected, and too famous to be held accountable. People forget, fame is a light that can expose you or blind you. It just depends on what you are hiding. This documentary isn't just about Diddy. It's about the industry, about power, about how far people will go to stay on top, and how long people will stay silent because they are scared to lose their own chance at success. And you see 50 Cent, forget jokes. He's teaching a masterclass in pettiness. The level of dedication, the budget, the clips, the investigative depth. Bro, this wasn't beef. This was a mission. But here's my takeaway. At the end of the day, you can build an empire. You can build wealth. You can build fame. But if you don't build character, everything else will eventually collapse on its own. Because money can give you power, but it cannot rewrite the truth. And this documentary, it's one of those moments where the truth finally walked into the room, uninvited, unforgettable, and unstoppable. If you watch this documentary, don't watch it as a gist. Watch it as a warning. Watch it as a lesson. Watch it as a reminder that the world will clap for you in public, but your character, your choices, your actions behind closed doors, that's what determines how your story ends. And honestly, after watching this whole thing, one thing kept ringing in my head. No matter how high you rise, never think you are bigger than accountability.